Howdy folks, my name's Darren from RC Scale Models, and today I have another kit. This one's from Tamiya. It's their new Lockheed P-38J Lightning. This is their third variant of this aircraft. They've previously done the F, G and H. So if you've built the kit in the past, or you already got the kit in your stash and whatever from the F, G and H, you pretty much know what the kit's kind of going to be and look like and kind of go together if you built the others. There's a couple of parts that are different in the J. I don't know what the difference is between the aircrafts. I'm not an expert on the P-38, so I couldn't tell you. So let's get into this one. By the way, it is 1/48 scale as well. So it's standard Tamiya boxing. We have two options of your marking. So we have aircraft 131 and 100, and there's this, and kit number is 123. Also you get that marking which is on the option on the front. No idea who that is. I thought it was Marilyn Monroe, but it's actually not. It's some other woman. I don't know who that is. It's probably that woman there. Kit, as I say, is pretty standard, so we'll take a closer look at this. All important paperwork. First up the top we get this sheet here. There's a little bit of history on the aircraft, so they're nice. I do like to have them. Colour callouts, markings, worksheet, tips and tricks, which is pretty standard in all Tamiya kits. So standard Tamiya instructions, it's the black and white. We have your colours, which is going to be Tamiya, no other manufacturers. Basic tools, glues, nippers, tweezers, knives, that kind of thing. Your standard stuff. They don't really have a sprue layout in Tamiya kits. You get the three options, so there are several parts where you may have to be careful and be aware of, obviously for the A, B and C versions. Straight off the section is your instrument panel. We do have decals for your dials and stuff, and it does have the colour callouts as you work your way along. So the internal is black, and obviously cockpit green as you work your way around. We have the inside of the cockpit, firewall, couple of levers, details, lumps and bumps. As you work your way around, these are the side walls and the decals and detail painting as you need to work your way along. And then once you've done all of those, you can start building your cockpit tub together. And then we have the massive wing spar, which is moulded in one part. This section here at the front is to do with the landing gear. A couple of detail parts on the inside. There are a couple of holes to drill out. I presume that's for the fuel tanks, maybe, I'm not sure. We do have a couple of parts you do need to take care of with painting as well. This is giant wing spar as well. A couple of parts that you attach to that, which allows for the front landing gear, I believe, as well, because these parts here make up the walls of the landing gear. We have more internal parts, bulkheads and things to make up your landing gear. This can be attached to the upper wing spar and inside. A couple of detail parts need painting as you work your way around. More holes to be drilled out, asking for 0.6, 0.8, 1.2, 0.6. Just be aware of that. Upper and lower section can be goes in. Don't forget your ball bearings, which are here in the kit. These are also weights, so you need 3 of these. You get 1 in the front nose and 2 in the engine nacelles, because it is a tail sitter otherwise, which is a nice touch. They give you those already. I have noticed quite a lot of similarities to the other aircraft, the way it goes together. Nose cone, which houses the cannons in the front, which is, I believe, is a 6 or 7 cannon. So quite a array of firepower coming out of the nose. And we have flaps, engine cowlings going together, your nose going in. Underside is these approach lights, I believe they are. So there, is it red, green and yellow, I believe. And then we have upper wing section going together, a couple of lights and hatches, a couple of tabs to take care of, flaps as 2 halves, the wing tips, and then this section here is all to do with your exhaust and turbos, I believe, and they can be attached to the top of the engine or engine nacelles. And then we have a couple of exhaust parts, and then we have some more internal wheel well detail being built up. This is for the tail boom, so that's where the main landing gear will be. This is what this is. And so inside of that is AS12, which I believe is silver or natural metal finish. You have to repeat the process twice. These cutout here again is for where your ball bearing sits, which is explained here. More detail parts and radiators and that kind of thing going in, so it's a little bit complex. You will have to paint on the inside as well. How much you're going to see I don't know, but it is asking for paint. The ball is asking to be glued in. I imagine you use super glue. I'm not sure. I think there is a little bit of photo etch in this kit. I'm not sure because you've got some detail parts here. We would have to look at that. I'm not sure if there is photo etch. Actually, there might not be. But I know there is tons of aftermarket out for these kits. We have, this is all the radiator system. Remember we have to do this twice because it's for 2 engines. These are all the cowlings. More scoops. Again, this section here now, all of this is basically repeating the process from previously, so it's the left and the right side of your engine and tail booms. So once they've done, they can be sandwiched together. This is a radiator system, exactly the same. So once the 2 booms have been done, they can be dropped in from the lower. And then we have the giant tail at the back and your flaps and ailerons all going in to make that iconic shape at the back. Main landing gear is very simple, 2-piece wheels and the main structural part, a couple of detail parts you need to paint as you work your way along. You've got these tabs on the end, they got to be removed. Colour callouts for your wheels, which is tyre black and silver inserts. Front landing gear again is the same, 2-piece wheels and your main landing gear, that can all go in. This is the landing gear down. These are for the doors, landing gear doors, they come as 2 parts. These tabs here, do not remove them because that is the locating points for attaching your landing gear. These are hard points for your fuel tanks. So if you want fuel tanks you can attach these, if you don't attach them. More landing gear doors, again all of this, even that tab there where it says C41, do not cut that off because that slots in between the bulkhead and the wheel well, and basically just holds the tyre door in place, so do not cut those tabs off. We have the arms on the end, which are the actuators, so they're through the doors. This is for your fuel tanks, which is the optional part if you want to add them or not. So you've got 1 centre tank. Is there a centre tank? Nope, sorry, it looks like it. There's 2 tanks on the underside though, so that is optional. The boarding ladder is optional, it's for being on the ground for your pilot. Radio equipment being assembled, this goes behind the pilot inside the cockpit. And now you do some more detail and bulkheads, and then you put your seat in, which is strangely enough is a little bit late, but you do it now. There are some seat belts, but they are done on your decals. That's a definite upgrade for sure. You do get a pilot figure, so if you want to put your pilot in, which is a nice touch as well. So you got your colour callouts for him. If you do apologise about my hands being really dirty because I've been working on my bike and a little bit greasy still. You do get a mask set as well, which is a nice touch. Unfortunately it's not die cut, I don't think, so you will have to carefully cut these out. Some people like them, some people don't. It's entirely up to you. Me, I'm just probably going to buy an Edard set because I just like doing it. Canopy open or closed option as you work your way around, so this is how you do it. This is the option parts for open and closed. Propellers all called out for being a black colour, I imagine, and then you've got these individual outer sections, and then you've got your nose cone. Some of the paint schemes, this outer section is silver, I believe, and then the actual nose cone is red, so it's worth doing painting, and it's easier where I paint it separately. And you've got your two propellers and props going on. And then how to do decals and stuff, that's pretty standard. So in here we've got your markings and your masks. Like I mentioned before, there's your mask set. It is not die cut, so you will have to cut them yourself. Here's your main markings, so all your serial numbers of the aircraft. The reason why they give it in blue and red is because I think in the instructions they're not 100% sure on the markings on what colour it was, so they're giving you the option. And then these stripes are to go around the propellers, and on the tail that's for another marking option. Standard US symbols, this is for your kill streak for the one on the box art, and here is the other option which is more kill streaks. That's a woman. Markings have been scratched out for some reason, don't know why. Stencil data, there's your seat belts. That what I thought was photo etch is not, it's actually a decal. I won't put them on. I'll probably buy Edard's photo etch set for this to spruce it up a little bit. So these decals are not too bad. I have no problem with Tamiya decals. Always use Tamiya Mark Fit Strong, which is designed for these decals, and you should have no issue. I know you can't really get it in the UK, you have to import it. So we have this giant pull-out page. I'm not sure if this is 1:1 scale. I know on the Spitfire they did was 1:1 scale, so it was worth photocopying, and you could cut out the shapes for your camouflage. I'm not sure on that, but it is hard to do this on camera because it's a massive page. So it's basically the top of the aircraft on one of the schemes. This is what I meant by the propeller being half and half, and because it's separate in the kit, you can paint this red and paint that white, and then just basically glue it into place. And here's the side profiles. This is the one with 131, and it gives you the option in 131 in blue, because I did read somewhere that they weren't too sure. Here's the underside. This is all silver, natural metal. I think all three schemes are silver or natural metal. Here's the other scheme. Here's the top profile. This one has all the red tips. Here is the one from the box art actually. There's that lady on the front. This which is 999 or 993, sorry, even. The kill markings on the side. This has a little bit of red in the front where the cannons are. That's the underside, very plain and boring. I'm not too much of a fan of the silver colour schemes or natural metal. I do find them a bit of a boring scheme myself. Even the green ones can be a little bit boring, but you can do a little bit more weathering and fading and that kind of thing with the green ones though. So here's another option. This is what those stripes are for. You can paint them on, but I don't know, it'd be a little bit tricky I imagine. This is the one for 100. The underside, side profiles. So yeah, it is nicely done. They are good schemes, and there's nothing on the back. So no further ado, we go through the kit. Like I mentioned before, there's your ball bearings that we had shown previously, and as I say, the kit is pretty much going to be similar to the F, G and H. As I say before, I don't know what the difference is between F, G, H and J. There are differences, but I don't know what they are. So here's the upper wing spar. Nope, sorry, this is the lower wing spar. Nope, sorry, this is the upper wing spar. Get it? I will get it right, because that's the cockpit section, and your instrument and radio equipment sits sort of back here. So yeah, it is nicely done. It is a weird shaped mould. Detail is pretty good. There are some panel lines in places and rivets. It's not overly done with rivets. If you want to go over with a riveting wheel, you probably will have to if you want to detail it up a bit more. Your option. I won't do that, I'll just leave it as is. I will build it mostly out of the box. Inside we have a lot of structural parts, just depends in places which you need not to worry about because they're not visible. But as I say, you will see a lot of similarities between the kit. There are any other versions. So this is another sprue or two. This is L sprue. So these are all your engine nacelles, left and right booms, a couple of flaps. So these are the inserts. These inserts sit inside here. There is one of your instrument panels. So it'll be painted black, and you do have like a small decal to go over that. I will upgrade that though to probably a Red Fox or a Quintia Studios set or something like that for this. There's a couple of pedals there as well. Here is your detail for your booms. I haven't built any of these newer aircraft from Tamiya yet, but I have heard a lot of good things. They are, as they say, shake and bake from Tamiya. They pretty much fall together. What we have here, a little bag, a couple of poly caps. That's probably for your propellers, which is on this sprue, strangely enough. So nicely done. There's no flash, hardly any burring. There is a little bit on the sprue, but I don't see much on parts. So these are painted the blacky colour. These are your main tail, but the flap is moulded in. This is the upper wing section. Sorry, the lower wing section. Couple of cowlings, couple of trim pieces. Here is your seat. Here is part of your boarding ladder for your pilot. A couple of detail parts. This is internal parts, I believe. Here are your cannons. They are a bit crap in my opinion. They need upgrading. Resin or master barrels, is it, or master something to do the brass ones. That's probably a worthy upgrade as well. We have two sprues the same here. So these are fuel tanks, wheels, cowlings. So these are exactly the same. So two types of fuel tanks. You've got large and small. No idea what the capacity would be. These are here is your tail. These are flaps. These are parts of your cowling. Here are your wheels. You do have two types. We have the closed and the open version. We do have nice tread pattern, but sadly when you come to put them together you are going to get a bit of a seam line, so you will have to take care of that. Come to sand it down a little bit, it's going to be a little bit rough, but it may look perfectly fine. It'll look like worn tyres. I'm going to put them together and see how well they go together. If not, I always like buying my resin wheels, resin cockpit upgrades, or upgrades for the cockpit, and foliage. That's really what I really buy for aircraft. I don't really do an awful lot of parts. Here's your nose cone for your propellers. These are those segments that were separately that go round it. So like you say, put these together. For that one, it's got the white and blue. sorry, the white and red nose. So do these red, do that white, put them together, perfect. These cutouts, I'm not sure what they're for. These are for the intake for the radiator system, and here's part of your exhaust or the supercharger section. This is actually sprue D and N. There's 2 sprues on here. Didn't realise that. So this doesn't look too bad. Clear parts. Tamiya and their staples. So we have this fancy sprue piece around the main canopy part, protect it, which is nice. We have the back part of the canopy, quite a large thick frame. This is the main canopy, and detail parts you work your way around. This is the side door, it opens sideways. So in this one we have the lower section. So this is front landing gear and part of your wings and stuff. These are your wing tips. Here's your nose cone. It has the cannons. It is 5, not 7. Here's where your superchargers go and stuff. Here's part of your cockpit, and there's the cockpit walls, detail parts, bulkheads, part of your seat assembly. Is like a, not a flight stick, but it is like a flight yoke, wheel type thing, whatever you want to call that, I don't know. Here is your pilot. He is headless, because the head comes separately. That piece at the bottom is not flash or anything, it is a his mask. There's part of the cannons, which is part of the mechanism. There are some more cannons there. Here is your radio equipment. Internal parts. The radio equipment sits on the back plate. Some more bulkheads. Some more flaps. So yeah, nicely done. If you're not going to use seat belts, photo etch, that kind of thing for the cockpit area, and you're going to stick a pilot in, it's more than sufficient. I might actually even do that. Stick the pilot in this one. This small bag has landing gear parts. So we have these small intakes. There is another instrument panel. Like I mentioned, there is 4 types now, so there is the F, G, H and J. So the instrument panel is probably to do with some of the differences. Landing gear segments. Another door. There is another set of cannons, so there's 3 sets of cannons. That's probably another reason. That's probably another section is different on the J to do with the cannons. I don't know if there's any new sprues in this kit from the previous versions. Alright, new tool parts, I'm not sure. There is another wheel there. I think this is your centre wheel. Here is part of your main boom and landing gear moulded in segments. These section here is where your ball bearings sit. These are here are the landing gear sidewalls, so all of this has to be painted the silver. A couple of more intakes. These fragile parts down here are the actuator arms for the doors. These are your doors. Again, these tabs here, don't cut them off because they slot in between the bulkhead and the firewall type thing. This is the front landing gear segments. A couple of more bulkheads, pipes, bulkheads, detail parts. So yeah, this is quite a busy sprue. A lot of fragile parts on the outside here, here. Here's your main wing spar. Like I say, you do have a piece that sits on the front which has the ball bearing on it. So that's the reason why there's 3. So yeah, nicely done. And that is it. So there you are, my friends. Another kit from Tamiya. Beautiful P-38. Iconic aircraft. It's going to be lovely in the natural metal finish type stuff. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.